For centuries, mankind has pondered the unanswerable questions. Are we alone in the universe? What happens the moment after we die? Is the 1994 summer blockbuster Speed overrated, underrated, or properly rated? Well, for the past few weeks, my mind has been mulling over a new question to add to that list. What is the best animal to play as in a video game? And while there are certainly a lot of worthy air, land, and sea-based contenders for that crown, thanks to the solid new indie platforming collectathon Big Hops, I think I can safely say that my answer is the humble frog. I'll get to why in just a second, but on the whole, I love it when a video game lets me embody a familiar animal, especially when the mechanics speak to the nature of said creature. I've spent several decades as a human being, so I'm always keen to jump at a game that lets me experience a world through the eyes, skills, and sensibilities of anything that's decidedly non-human. Deftly exploring the urban sprawl as a spry cat and stray, being an absolute menace in Untitled Goose Game, punching through the very earth itself for those sweet, sweet bananas in Donkey Kong Bonanza, gliding through the ocean in Echo the Dolphin, or just thriving in the post-apocalyptic goat of critter simulators, Tokyo Jungle. As I mentioned before, on its surface, Big Hops is a familiar 3D platforming collectathon. You play as an eager young frog named Hop who's just trying to get back home after being separated from his family by this evil wizard. Once you get past the relatively confined opening tutorial, you're dropped into a massive sandy expanse with points of interest in every direction as far as the eye can see. From here, you explore colorful worlds, collect plentiful doodads, help out various folks with their various problems, slowly fold in new abilities to your impressive movement suite, and press on through a sweet, inoffensive story. But under this familiar hood are two distinct elements that elevate Big Hops above the pack. The first is your very nature as a frog, and I wasn't exaggerating when I said that I think they might make for the best, most versatile animal protagonists in games. Right off the bat, frogs can feel at home in countless biomes that the medium tends to lean on. Forests, swamps, cities, deserts, sewers, any old body of water. Hell, I just found out recently that some frogs can be found on snowy mountains. Look at that. Frog facts. Jumping is a foundational pillar to the platforming genre, and watching a frog make impossible leaps makes way more sense than seeing some Italian plumber do the same. Big Hops leans heavily into a fluid sense of locomotion, and you'll quickly find yourself rolling, vaulting, wall running, and climbing in ways that really provide a sense of ownership and mastery to the playgrounds around you. This is heightened by a frog's other defining feature, those long tongues of theirs. In Big Hops, your tongue doubles as a grappling hook, and as we all know, every single game is improved with the addition of a grappling hook. You'll use your tongue to swing over gaps, help maintain your speed, pick locks, gobble up food, and generally just interact with the world around you. There's a nice tactile sensation as you whip your tongue out towards the handle of a treasure chest, pull back for a second, and then watch it pop open and spill out whatever goodies might be inside. It's little things like this that make a familiar video game action stand out among the crowd, like the celebratory pomp of Link opening a chest, or the no-nonsense nature of Kratos smashing through a box to snag whatever might be on the inside. Aside from your excellent frog-centric movement abilities, the other standout in Big Hops is an emergent gameplay system that stems from various plants, flowers, and buds found around the environment, with each one providing a unique service to your adventure. Toss a mushroom and you'll create a bouncy platform on any surface. Huck an acorn and it'll reveal a twisty vine that can be climbed without using any stamina. A chili pepper lets you burn dry grass or even set yourself on fire, and a cactus can be used to create a tightrope between 2 points of impact. The rate at which these new plants are introduced allows you to gain a familiarity with one before learning the next, and there are side challenges scattered throughout the world that act as excellent teaching tools. While they start off as simplistic takes on the bottomless floors of Super Mario Sunshine's floodless rooms, they quickly evolve into more interesting puzzle chambers akin to Breath of the Wild shrines or even a standalone room in Portal. And like the best of both of those, these challenges in Big Hops teach you to think about the tools at your disposal and the world around you in different ways that can then be translated to the open world at large. Over my first 6 hours with Big Hops, I was surprised at how often my main frame of reference for the game shifted at a consistent pace. The low-stakes wandering of the intro felt like the recent cozy indie Lil Gator game. Then I was tossed into a sprawling sandy wasteland with scattered points of interest, which got me thinking of Sonic Frontiers. Once I found the first aforementioned challenge room, my mind went to Breath of the Wild and Portal. An hour later, I was sneaking through the sewers and into Enemy HQ, which delivered heavy shades of Sly Cooper. And finally, once I really started to kick the tires on the seed and vegetation system, the Emergent challenges and experimentation reminded me a bit of Tears of the Kingdom. Sure, there's a bit of wonkiness under the hood here. The menus are lacking, the absence of a map feels notable, and I never really cared much about the story. But those tended to be outweighed by the joy I felt from chaining together an impressive movement combo or solving a puzzle using some outside-the-box thinking. Also, this game has a bunch of waterfalls, and let me tell you, taking a little gander behind them is always rewarding. 10 out of 10, well done, big hops. While playing through the first two major biomes of the game, I couldn't help but think about the amphibious heroes who walked before so that Hop could, hop. One of the biggest games of the late 70s, early 80s arcade boom was Konami's Frogger, which bravely asked the question, why did the frog cross the road? Turns out, the answer was to hoover up quarters as players died 1,000 deaths under speeding trucks. Onto the NES, a frog costume helped transform Mario from a plumber clumsily bobbing up and down in the water to an acrobatic amphibian who cuts through pools with ease. Since then, Nintendo would continually champion frogs in games, whether that's Slippy Toad's moral support in Star Fox, Froakie being an incredibly cute Gen 6 starter in Pokemon, the Save Frogs of Mother 3 just jamming out with these guys on Ocarina of Time, or the all-powerful Froggy Chair in Animal Crossing. I also heavily associate frogs with some of my favorite capital W weird games, stuff like Ribbit King, Frog Fractions, and anytime Big the Cat shows up in a Sonic game. Love you, Big. But you'd be hard-pressed to find a better frog in video game history than this guy. 30 years after release, Chrono Trigger's Glenn, aka Frog, remains my platonic ideal of an RPG party member. He's brave, he's noble, he's got a sick theme song, and he's worthy enough to wield the legendary Masamune. He also comes packed with an assortment of fitting abilities like shooting out bubbles, slurping up baddies, and summoning this hefty lad into battle. So from arcade classics to 90s JRPG royalty to modern indie platformers like Big Hops, I'm thoroughly convinced that frogs make for the absolute best animal-based video game characters. Now, if only Disney and Square would stop being cowards and finally put the Muppets into Kingdom Hearts 4, please Nomura. The children yearn to see Kermit holding a Keyblade.